welcome back to tax deed and lien investing, or lien and deed investing, whatever you prefer. I want to give you, now I'm going to show you the screen. The print is fairly small, okay, so don't worry about that. Of course, I got to have my screen work here a minute. All right. Oh, see that? Okay, there we go. Don't worry about the small print. I apologize for that, but I'm going to read it. It'll be fine. Okay? Step 1, and I want you to write this down. I want you to paraphrase the information I'm giving you. Maybe take out a blank sheet of paper and put on it tax foreclosure timeline, and this would be a tax lien county. Okay? Tax lien county. Number 1, step 1. Homeowner is issued annual property tax bill. That's in step 1. Homeowner is issued annual property tax bill. Step 2. Homeowner misses property tax payment due date. Step 2. Homeowner misses property tax payment due date. Step 3. Grace period payment, typically 30 to 90 days, depending on the county. So even though they've missed their payment, typically they've got anywhere from 30 to 90 days of a grace period to pay that tax penalty or tax bill without penalty. And that depends on the county. Step number 4. County issues tax lien, redemption period begins. County issues tax lien, redemption period begins. So when someone buys that lien, whatever the redemption period is in that state, in that county, the clock starts ticking with that, okay? And as we pointed out earlier on that Clarence so eloquently pointed out, it may depend on whether it's a homestead property or non-homestead. Remember the homestead rights that we talked about a couple days ago? This would be another one where they get a little bit longer term to come back and pay those delinquent taxes, okay? So check and make sure if it's a homestead property or not. Now I want to talk about the redemption period. Now again, I really want to emphasize that this is different in every state and different in it could be different in counties within that state. So you really need to make sure that you do your research on this. Typically, anywhere from 1 to 5 years as a redemption period. Typically. We already talked about a 6-month scenario in Texas, but typically 1 to 5 years. I really appreciate this opportunity for entertainment. Okay, well, here's what we want to do. Here's what I'd like to do, if it's okay with y'all. I want to get through this slide, and then for those of you here and for those of you watching at home, you are going to have a very nice treat in the middle of this. So just bear with me here for a second. You, my friend, need to prepare. Warm the vocal cords a little. Okay? Just be ready. Now, the redemption period, again, is the time frame that owner has been given to repay tax debt plus penalties and interest. I want you to paraphrase this as you're writing. In a tax lien county, an auction is typically scheduled at various times during the year, which will determine how the county structures the redemption period. If a tax lien does not get sold at auction, then the county will strike off the lien or over-the-counter sales. This makes the lien available as an over-the-counter lien and surplus or surplus lien, as sometimes it's called. So again, during that period, depending on the county that it's in, depending on the state that it's in, the auction, if the property goes to auction, doesn't get sold, it goes to over-the-counter sale, or as they call it, a surplus lien. Okay? Everybody got that for step 5? No. I'll read the first part of it again. Redemption period, typically 1 to 5 years. That's what the step 5 is. I'm just adding some things in there. Step 5 is the redemption period. And dependent on the state and county that it's in, it could be anywhere from a year to 5 years. And in some cases, shorter than that. That's all you need to really put in there. Just note that if it goes to the auction and doesn't sell, the county takes that back. Just like when it goes to a bank foreclosure auction, doesn't sell, the bank takes it back as an REO. This is kind of like a tax REO. Does that make sense? Okay. Step number 6, the redemption period ends. The redemption period ends. That's all you need to put on there for step number 6. Step number 7 is depending on the county's laws, the county or lien holder can file to gain possession of the deed. This process could take several days to several months to acquire the deed. The foreclosure process begins in possible eviction of the former homeowner if they're living there. So this is that quiet title action that I was talking about. So dependent on the county is going to depend upon how long it takes and what actual process that you use. That is a great question, for instance, if you're focusing on Harris County, Texas, which is where Houston is, and you're going to focus on tax deeds. Understanding title questions and things should be directed towards the title company there in Harris County. Here in Maricopa County, you would deal with a title company here and asking them that question about obtaining the deed if the lien holder does not pay that, and what the quiet title action is going to consist of. How many days, what paperwork, that type of thing. Is there any questions on this flow or process here?
If let's call it the owner, pays in between step 3 and 4, does that lien goes on auction anywhere?
If the
Just to avoid waste of time, that I'm buying something and I'm getting a 14% return, then I find out I only get 1 day out of it, and that wasted a lot of my time.
Yeah. So his question is, if he buys the lien, the very next day or 2 days later, the owner comes and pays those taxes, he's wasted a lot of time. That's true. That's a risk that is very possible.
It's the same if he pays in between step 3 and 4, so even before they get issued, but at the end of the grace period.
That's correct. That's correct. So you could have some time involved. They come back and pay that, and you're getting paid a return, but that's it. In some states, you're going to get guaranteed that return. So depending on some, Illinois, 10%, you're going to get guaranteed that 10% on your money there. Okay? Yes? Number 7. Can I do it all over again? Maybe when you say some people, are you meaning you, Ken? Do you see how Ken shifted the blend? Does he do this at home, Susan? He does this at home. Yeah.
I have to tell him all the time. I say, go straight to the point, please.
Yes, go straight, because he's babbling a lot. Is that what you find? Are you babbling a lot? Oh, Ken. The next 5 day, we're going to have a session, like I'm Dr. Phil now. That's who I am. I think I'm Dr. Phil. Anyway. Yeah. Number 7. This is for some people, Ken. Depending on the county's laws, the county or lien holder can file to gain possession of the deed. Quiet title action that I was talking earlier. This process could take several days to several months to acquire the deed, depending on the state and or county. Did that help some people? Okay, great. This is where you've bought the tax lien, they haven't paid it, and now you can actually get possession of the property, title, ownership of the property. When you get the deed, that is possession. The deed is ownership of the property. Okay? That's a good thing.
The redemption period ends, but it could be up to 6 months before you actually have possession.
Depending on the state. Yes. Remember, there's 50 states to deal with, and some states have hundreds of counties in them. So you've got to do your research specifically to what's there. This is a broad overview. Yes?
Once you've once you've got the bid at the auction, can you then sell that back to the bank that might be in first position?
You can assign that or sell that to anybody you want, absolutely. And they do that currently. Yeah? Yes? Well, if the goes through the auction and nothing's sold, the county can actually file. Now, this is dependent on the state. Sometimes they have different practices, but the county is going to have to file for the ownership of that deed. In other words, the homeowner doesn't own the property anymore. By the way, the deed shows ownership or transfers ownership by way of, like you've heard me talk about, quitclaim deeds. That is a form that you can use to fill out to transfer ownership. But a deed shows ownership of a property. In different states, it's called different things. Warranty deed, special warranty deed, special deed. But the deed shows ownership. Make sense, everybody? Okay. Okay.
So then who can take title of the property in that case? You're saying in some cases the county takes the property, in other cases you can take the property?
If they take it back over the counter, the county will own that deed. They'll own that property by way of that deed. So they'll have to go through quiet title themselves or something. If the person that bought the lien bought it, the time period expired, they will have to go through that quiet title process and get the deed. It doesn't happen automatically where you have the ownership. You've got to take action in most states to get the deed of the property, but you have the right to it. Okay?